Welcome to Ask Auntie, the show where I answer whatever questions you send me. So today, my niece River wants to know what causes bruises. And for active kids or clumsy kid-size adults, finding mystery bruises or funny colored marks on the body can seem like an everyday part of life. But why do some impacts cause bruises while others don't? And what are these magical mystery spots actually made of? All great questions. So to understand this, we have to first understand veins. And veins are the tubes within the body that carry blood to the heart and are mainly seen just below the surface of the skin. For some skin tones, it's easier to see veins than others, and that's because they appear blue due to a lack of oxygen. Interestingly enough, though, the blood inside is actually a dark red, but due to the scattering of light through the skin and the way the eye perceives color and light, they actually appear blue. Now, if you were to cut the skin, though, and the blood were to leave the body, it would appear as a bright red, and that's because it's mixed with oxygen at that point. Bruises, though, form when the soft tissues of the body get bumped, which causes small veins and capillaries, which are tiny blood vessels, under the skin to break. Now, when the red blood cells from the veins leak out of the broken blood vessels, there isn't really an ability for it to escape or exit the body because there's no cut. So instead, they just begin to collect under the skin, and that results in a bluish, purplish, or even blackish mark that we see on the outside of the skin and call a bruise. Now, bruises don't just appear immediately, though, and they definitely don't stay the same color the whole time they're on the skin. In fact, bruises go through several phases and color changes as the body heals itself, because over the lifetime of the bruise, the body starts to metabolize or break down the blood cells in the skin, which is what results in the color changes that we see. So let's go through the life cycle of a bruise. So suddenly you bump your skin or you injure yourself, right? And that spot is likely going to turn red or purplish, and it may even swell or be warm to the touch. And this is because all of that blood is collecting under the tissue. After a couple of days, the bruise is going to turn blue or blackish due to the clumping of the red blood cells that leaked underneath the skin. So it will get deeper if there's more of them. In about a week, though, the body will start to break down the bruise, resulting in kind of a greenish or yellow mark due to the thinner accumulation of red blood cells because, again, it's metabolizing and breaking them down. In about 2 weeks, that bruise is likely just going to be a light brown. It's going to fade lighter and lighter each day until it's gone. So not a really long life cycle for a bruise. Now, while preventing a bruise is the best way to avoid it, there are some ways to alleviate how large or severe they become once an injury has occurred. So some ways to counteract bruising are to reduce the swelling after an injury by using a cold compress, because that's going to reduce the blood flow around the area. Opposite of that, though, you could actually use heat to boost the circulation and increase the blood flow, which will help clear away all that trapped blood. You could also massage the area. I will admit, post-injury, this can be kind of painful, but it does help to disperse that accumulated blood cells and reduce the darkness of the bruise. I do this a lot, especially if I injure myself surfing. The other thing is you elevate the affected area above the heart to drain the fluid from the area, kind of what you do in a normal like bleeding injury. You also can wrap the bruised area in a bandage to squeeze the tissue and prevent the blood vessels from leaking. Again, the same thing you do when you use a tourniquet. Or you could just apply some topical anti-inflammatory cream. So you could use like an arnica gel, a vitamin K, a vitamin C, or even an aloe vera. My favorite thing to do, though, is to eat pineapple. I know it seems weird, but the bromelain enzyme that you find in pineapple has actually been shown to reduce inflammation and severity of bruises. So it's kind of a tasty way to prevent them from getting too bad. Well, that's it for today's Ask Auntie. Now you know how those mystery bruises form. But as for where they come from, honestly, we may never know. So anyways, share the knowledge, tell your friends, and remember, the truth is really only ever a question away.